After losing wife, husband finds photo she left on her phone. I met the love of my life, Michelle, at a young age, and we dated in high school for 1 year. I fell madly in love with her. This was how John Polo started his heart-wrenching article on his blog, Better Not Bitter Widower, talking about his deceased wife's death that turned his life upside down. After 8 years apart, we reunited and planned to spend the rest of our lives together, alongside Michelle's amazing daughter. He continues telling his readers. Sadly, not all fairy tales have happy endings, and theirs wasn't one to last. 2 years after his reunion with his wife, she was diagnosed with an extremely rare and aggressive cancer, a cancer so rare that his wife was the only one who had it in the world in that year. Regardless of the aggressiveness of the cancer and the slim chances of survival, Michelle fought bravely for 2.5 years. Before her body was no longer a match to its adversary, cancer beat her in the end, wrecking his world apart. Even though he knew that Michelle's chances of beating cancer and recovering were almost zero, he still had some hope for her to be one of the lucky ones who could survive. Her death devastated him and left him in a wreck. All he could do was cry and sleep. He wouldn't eat or go out for days on end, mourning the death of the love of his life, the one he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. A week after kissing his beautiful bride goodbye as death tore them apart, John was lying in bed, unable to carry on with days as his grief was too heavy to carry, when he came across a photo on Michelle's phone. John had never seen the picture before, and coming across it after his wife passed away moved him to tears. Despite his heartache, John was grateful for the years he spent with his late wife and wanted to share their beautiful love story on social media. He had recently posted about it on Facebook, along with the photo of Michelle, which he had found on her phone that fateful day. "That's my wife," he wrote, "in her wedding dress. A wedding dress that I never got to see her in. We were married at the courthouse a few days before her first surgery was scheduled to take place. We rushed there to become man and wife, not knowing if she would make it out of the surgery alive," John explained to his Facebook friends. After the cancer came back and she was terminal, we decided to plan a real wedding, he added. Unfortunately, life had other plans for her. Michelle didn't make it to that real wedding, and she died 2 weeks before the date it was supposed to take place. John confessed that he had so many regrets, one of them being not getting to see her walk down the aisle. Death took that away at the last minute. However, despite her sickness, she was able to get her wedding dress, her dream dress according to John's words. While at hospice, she would talk to people about how great the wedding was going to be. John went on. "She wasn't coherent enough to realize that she wasn't going to make it there," he continued. John was never able to see his wife in her wedding dress, as she died before they could share the moment they both longed for. A week after she passed away, John stumbled across this picture on her phone, a picture of her in the wedding dress she was supposed to wear on their big day. John lay motionless in bed, both happy and wrecked. He was both smiling and crying, happy that he was finally able to see her in her dream dress, even if it was just in a picture, and devastated to realize, once again, that he will never see her in that gown or any other gown because she was gone for good. "I want to live a long life," wrote John. "I want to remarry and have grandkids. I want to write and teach. I want to spread my message to the world. I want to tell them everything I have learned about love, loss, grief, and healing," he continued. But John concluded, "When it is my time, I am running up there. No, I am sprinting up there to see her." Even if he was willing to move on with life, she'd still be his greatest love and the one he wants to be reunited with when his time comes. John is one of many who mourn the loss of their loved ones, wishing they could have saved them from an inevitable fate just to have a few more days with them. While his story is absolutely heartbreaking, he remains an inspiration to many others who find themselves in a similar situation, grieving over the loss of a loved one and wondering how they will ever move on, stuck between wanting to move on and remaining faithful to the memory of their loved ones.